Good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and receive. I hope your day is off to a great start. My name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author. And today at Rise and Receive, we're going to talk about how to receive right now, specifically related to the power of sitting. The power of sitting. So if you are someone who is always running around, rushing, super busy, if you feel like you don't have enough time to actually sit, if you can't even imagine why sitting would be a good thing, and especially how it relates to receiving right now, I really think that today is going to be an eye-opener and hopefully a heart opener. And so I invite you to sit back and really receive today's message. So Rise and Receive is your 10-minute morning send-off designed to support you in receiving what you most want by unlearning struggle. And what I do every day here at Rise and Receive is I pick one card from my new Receive card deck and I read it to you. I unpack the receiving principle that is in the card, and then I'll send you off on your way with a mantra, a willingness mantra that's designed to support you in inviting more and better than you could ever imagine. So I am passionate about teaching people how to receive by unlearning struggle and really illuminating that while there is some struggle that's natural to life, much struggle is learned, especially at this time on our planet and especially in the United States as part of our culture. So today we're going to talk about the power of sitting and how it's essential to unlearning struggle and really opening up to abundance and fulfillment in ways that, is really hard to tap into when you've learned to over-rely on what I call the masculine model of power, which is very sort of hunter-oriented. You identify a target, you get a plan, you get out your tools, you pursue, you take a lot of action. So sitting has its place in fulfillment, and sometimes that gets forgotten when we're in hunter mode. So with that, I invite you to sit back. I'm going to read you today's card. Let the words wash over you. You can always come back and re-listen to it if you'd like, here or on my YouTube channel. Today's card is entitled Receive Now by Sitting. Receive now by sitting. Okay, so sit back and let this all flow over you. If you learn that your worthiness is based on the outcomes you produce, your productivity, or what you do for others, you've likely come to believe that staying in motion is a good thing. You also probably believe that you are at your most powerful when you're in action. Conversely, you may have concluded that if you were to simply sit, the opposite would be true about you. You might believe you are lazy, not enough, and are accomplishing nothing. If you've come to believe that more activity is better and less activity is worse, you will struggle. You may have heard the saying, all things come to those who wait. This is, in fact, inaccurate. However, all things do come to those who sit. It's essential to understand that sitting and waiting are two different things. If you're an overfunctioner, you may struggle to understand the value and the power of sitting. This is because you've learned that receiving is part of a transaction. If I do this, I will receive that. If I sit, then I'll receive something. And so when you sit, you may find yourself waiting for something to happen. But waiting implies that what is occurring at this moment is not enough and is somehow wrong. As long as you believe this, when you sit, you will wait and wait and wait to receive something. Your experience of sitting will appear to be not enough and somehow wrong. However, sitting as the embodiment of receiving is a state of seeing, feeling, and listening to whatever arises in your awareness and your body with attentive curiosity. Sitting quite literally acts as a key that opens the door to all that life is offering you right now. An effective leader sits and receives input. An engaged student sits and receives learning. A sweet pet sits and receives affection. A mother sits and receives her child. The intentional act of sitting gives your body the instruction that it is now time to receive. And as you take several very long, slow breaths and bring your awareness into your body, your nervous system gets the message that it is safe to relax. As your being settles into sitting, your awareness becomes an invitation. And while the things that come to you may not be physical, the non-physical appearance of thoughts and feelings are the substance of all manifestations in the physical world. When you sit, answers, inspiration, ideas, solutions, clarity, movement, healing, release, knowing, your next steps, and more are revealed. Do you have any idea what life has to offer you right now? In this moment, give yourself the gift of sitting, breathing deeply, and simply being each day, and welcome the discovery. So that is the card for Receive Now by Sitting. With that, I'd like to give you your willingness mantra for the day, and then we'll unpack it a little bit more. So the willingness mantra for the day, which is such a great reminder when you're in action, and kind of consumed with the trance of more is better, do. If you can catch yourself and notice, this is a great mantra to use. You can also use it anytime, whether you are in action or not, because we have learned to devalue or misunderstand the power of sitting in and of itself. So if you're sitting and you're feeling bad about sitting or asking yourself, what should I do? I should be doing something. This is a good mantra as well. Okay, you can't say it enough. I am willing to sit and receive right now. I am willing to sit and receive right now. So that's the power of sitting and how it's connected to receiving right now, as opposed to waiting for when. I need to do something first and then I will receive. So one of the things I wanted to offer, and this comes from years of being an overfunctioner myself. Believe me, this is not theory. I'm talking from personal experience, okay? Many times what happens is when we even get a whiff of the idea of, maybe there is an alternative to all of this overdoing and overfunctioning and action, and I'm willing to stop. But then what? That's always the question. It's like, well, if I stop, what do I do? That's like, what do I do? Right? So we don't understand that the absence of overfunctioning is not power. That's just the first step. You have to stop. Then there's this whole other wisdom that you tap into, which is in the power of sitting. So what I'd like to do is to soothe that part of you that just doesn't know what else to do, is I want to talk about the connection between sitting and action. Because action, hey, we're physical beings. We're spiritual beings having a human physical experience. So action is, that's part of what we signed up for, okay? But because we're here to unlearn struggle, the difference between hard work and inspired action is sitting. Sitting is the key to that shift from struggle to flow, from hard work to inspired action, okay? What most of us do when we are in overfunctioning mode and over-relying on the masculine model of power is we're on autopilot. So we see a problem or we perceive something that we want to have happen in the physical world, and we don't receive anything. We just see it, assess it with our minds, get into problem-solving mode, and jump to action. We might slow down enough to think, but we're still just dealing with the limited faculties of the mind and our five physical senses and the world. So it's like perceive physical world in through the senses, think, action. It's a loop that exists all out here in the outer world. Okay? But when you stop and sit, you now get to invite all kinds of wisdom and divine intelligence and possibilities that are just not available to you unless you're in receiving mode. Okay? And so what happens then is if you're just operating from your five physical senses, you're probably relying on force. It's willful action. I'm going to make something happen. And a lot of times that's also got this underlying lack because there's a fix-it sort of approach that the mind is always using. This solving problems, fixing problems, okay? In that, there's this belief that we're unconscious to often that there's something broken, there's something missing, I have to fix it. So it's really hard work. But when you sit back and you receive, okay, you get to open up to perspectives and wisdom that you could not even touch before. It flows in and you receive what you need. You receive what you need. And then as that opens up and starts to move through you, if action is called for, you will do the next thing and it will now be inspired by something bigger. It will also be an expression of your wholeness, of your abundance, because you have now received, you're operating from abundance, and it's now an expression of that which moves you as opposed to a lack-based instinct to conquer, fix, or solve. Okay? So sitting is that part of the equation that allows action to be inspired, to be easy, to be in the flow, and to summon all sorts of energies that are available from life that you can't tap into if you're not receptive. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this gives you really some inspiration to begin exploring and being in a discovery process around the power of sitting. That is how we receive. And the opportunities for receiving are endless. I wake up every single morning, at least 3 hours before I show up here, and I sit and I meditate and I receive and I journal and I create these rise and receives for you. And I don't know what I'm going to do from one day to the next. I simply receive what's here for me right now and I offer it. And then I move on with my day. Okay? So that is my offering to you today. Here's your willingness mantra again. I am willing to sit and receive right now. Not when, then waiting, but what's here right now with attentive curiosity. So if you like this, I hope that you will like, that you will share. If you are checking this out on YouTube, please subscribe. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. And if you're enjoying these Rise and Receive 10-minute morning send-offs and you'd like to receive your Receive card deck, as soon as it's available, please go to receivecarddeck.com. I will put you on the early bird list. You'll just put in your name and email. You'll have access to special bonuses and receiving opportunities. And as we get closer to the holiday season, I'll let you know how you can pre-order and even give them as gifts to other people. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.